We have to mention the news that has left the nation in shock. The death of Sir David Amess, Conservative MP for Southend West, who served his constituency for more than 20 years.
As a man of faith, his death has prompted many tributes from church leaders. The Archbishop of Westminster, Cardinal Vincent Nichols, said David carried out his vocation as a Catholic in public life with generosity and integrity.
And the Archbishop of Canterbury, Justin Welby, said, in this horrific and tragic moment, we must come together across the political difference and be the light that refuses to be cowed by darkness. We spoke earlier to two faith leaders in Sir David's constituency who knew him well. Father Jeff Woolnough, you're the priest at St Peter's Catholic Church, Eastwood Parish in Leigh. Thank you for joining us at what must be a really difficult time for all those who knew him. Now, you led a special Mass on Friday in remembrance of Sir David. Jeff, can you describe what David's Catholic faith meant to him?
Well, that's exactly why we wanted to act very quickly. Our church and our parish is on the same road where Sir David was cruelly murdered, and David's Catholic faith was so well known in our area for attending all of the Catholic churches, as well as the one which he belonged to in his parish in Westcliff. So it was a great way of us just saying thank you, and we're trying to still absorb the shock, of course.
Also joining us is the Reverend Steve Tinning, who's minister at the Leigh Road Baptist Church, also in Leigh. Steve, he was very keen to foster relationships with other faiths and denominations, wasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, David was well known amongst all the faith groups in the town. He visited the local mosques when they opened, and went to any number of different churches throughout his time as the MP here. And he also developed incredible relationships with local refugees, predominantly Muslim refugees, often helping. Well, with one particular family that I'm involved in, he helped them over 5 years reunite with their son that they'd been separated from in Syria. So he was extremely conscious of the variety of faiths that were represented in the town, and certainly was the first to be amongst them. Last time I saw him was at a community sponsorship event at our church, and there were a lot of Muslim refugees in the garden, and perhaps some of the people that had been there were a little reticent or nervous about introducing themselves to folk who they didn't know whether they spoke their language. Not true for David. He just got straight in and introduced himself and made himself well known to them with that extraordinary smile that he had.
And so many people have spoken about how kind he was, how he cared for people and worked hard for people who reached out to him for help. How much do you think his faith played a part in his work as an MP, Steve?
Undoubtedly so. His faith was extremely strong to him. Whenever I visited him, I went to his offices in Westminster a number of times, and there were a lot of artefacts that represented his faith in that place. And clearly he held the principles of his faith in high regard when it came to his politics, which isn't always an easy thing to do, but he was always very easy to talk to about certain aspects of his politics that his faith spoke into. Like, you know, he voted against the reduction of international aid. It's something I was texting him on the day, and he said, "Don't worry, I've got this." And I knew I could depend on him because he held those values of his faith in true regard for the way he voted in his politics.
Jeff, how will you remember him yourself?
As a passionate Member of Parliament who was always there for us, was always listened, was full of enthusiasm for even the most mundane things. That's how he lived his political life, because then nothing is ever dull. That's a great lesson for everyone. So every challenge you get, take it on as if it's maybe the last thing you're going to do. I know that sounds quite poignant, but certainly that's the way David did his work.
Father Jeff, Reverend Steve, thank you so much for joining us. And of course, we send our prayers to you, the community, and all Sir David's friends and family.
Many thanks.
Thank you.